Coming up on today's review of Raw, has Chad Gable become the new Perk Angle? The finalists for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament have been revealed. Is anyone safe from Bron Breaker? And more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another review. Come Saturday, we'll be watching the King and the Queen of the Ring PLE in Saudi Arabia. So on this episode, we decided the finalists for the Raw side of the bracket. So let's get into it. Sami Zayne opens the show with a really beautiful speech hyping up his title defense at the PLE. He talks about how this match is a battle between mind, body, and soul. Bronson Reed is physically strong, Chad Gable is mentally manipulative, and himself has the most heart and soul, and that for any fight, he bets on soul every time. So Perk Gable comes out, and we got the weekly Otis, you're a failure. In addition to him telling Sami that at Saudi Arabia, he's not just taking his Intercontinental Championship, he's taking his soul. This match was great. Something special about it was that for each of the Alpha Academy members, there was a chance for them to attack Sami when the ref wasn't looking, but each of them nervously refused, except Otis, who did it very conflictedly. Otis punched Sami, allowing Gable to pick up the win. And what made me so happy was that while Gable's song was playing after the match, the fans were chanting "You suck," very similarly to Kurt Angle back in the day. We are this close to Perk Gable. I am so excited. Next, we had an in-ring Raw debut for Bron Breaker against jobber Kale Dixon. Now, it's pretty apparent that Bron Breaker is a little bit upset that he wasn't in the King of the Ring tournament, and he's decided to take it out on everyone, starting with jobber Kale Dixon, who he just straight up killed. This guy was torn in half several times, and if you're gonna do a squash match, this is how you do it, because Bron Breaker went all the way. After the match, Braun slammed a chair over this guy's head on the steel step, sending him immediately on a stretcher and an ambulance. Even after all of that, the craziest thing about this whole match was Bron Breaker's spray on tan. Bro just keeps on getting darker. It's like they just dipped him in orange paint before the match. After that, we had a Queen of the Ring semifinal match between Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria. As expected, this match was excellent. Io landed a moonsault off the ropes onto the outside. Lyra locked in this super painful looking submission, and Io even delivered a powerbomb. But it all ended when Lyra locked in a pin that Io just couldn't escape from, which meant that Lyra pulled off one of the biggest upsets in a very long time. Like, this is huge. Io was a WWE Women's Champion like less than 2 months ago, and she lost to someone that's in their first 2 weeks of being on the main roster. However, Lyra was the NXT Women's Champion not too long ago. But so was Ilya Dragunov, and I thought it made sense for him to lose to Jey Uso. So yeah, this just goes to show how big of an upset this really was. After that, we got a couple of backstage segments. The first was with Ilya Dragunov, who says that he's not too bothered with losing to Jey Uso, and that he still wants to fight Gunther eventually. He was then interrupted by Ricochet, who was like, well, I plan on facing you again. Now, I was already having a good time, because Ilya had the most excessive aggravated look on his face I've ever seen, but out of nowhere, Bron Breakker spears Ricochet for no good reason. He's still just mad about not being in the tournament. No one is safe from this man. Then we went to the Judgment Day, who were getting ready for their tag team championship match, but Damian calls out Carlito for hiding out with them after attacking Cruz del Toro. After some convincing by Dominic, Damian drops it, but not after making sure Carlito knows that he has to earn his keep. Right before Finn Balor heads out to the ring, he tells Damian that, I can't help but feeling it should be me and you out there. Sort of it should have been me in that dress kind of vibe. So yeah, this led right into the World Tag Team Championship match between the Awesome Truth and the Judgment Day, which continues this great rivalry. The Awesome Truth were able to get the upper hand, with Truth landing the little Jimmy on JD McDonough. However, when he went for the pinfall, Carlito interfered by putting JD's foot on the ropes. This was immediately responded to by Andre the Giant, evening the odds by completely destroying Carlito and chasing McDonough right into an attitude adjustment for the 1, 2, 3. I'm pleasantly surprised how long this title reign has been going for. After that, Becky Lynch cut a promo ahead of her title defense for the Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan, who came out to bring down the man. I think this was great. Becky, you don't care about these people. All you care about is yourself. You're a liar. You're a liar. Everything I do is for these people. You can read all about it in my book for only $23.99. For real though, I love Becky, but I believe Liv Morgan is going to beat her for the belt. However, it may or may not happen at this PLE. It will happen before Rhea Ripley returns. I guarantee it. We'll just have to wait and see. Next, we had a women's tag team #1 contenders match. Nah, forget it. I am not reading all of that. These women need to come up with some team name. Look at this. There's 16 names here, but the only one I care about is Maxine. She's not perfect, but she has definitely definitely been improving. And the crowd loved her. She got a great reaction with the thank you and the warm elbow drop. Sadly, she took a knee from Shayna Baszler, causing her to be on the wrong side of the 1-2-3. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are a good choice here. Kairi and Dakota would have been too soon for a rematch. And Maxine is still a little too green. Katana and Kaden are a really good matchup, but I am really happy that Shayna is getting a push here. I thought it was great. Thumbs up. Finally, it was time for the main event, the King of the Ring tournament semifinal. Jey Uso versus Gunther. Does WWE do the Ring General versus the Legend Killer? Or do we do a Civil War Part 2 with Jey Uso against Tama Tonga? Jey started off strong, yeeting Gunther out of the ring and landing a dive between the ropes. However, once outside, Gunther started to target Jey Uso's arm by throwing him into the steel steps, throwing him into the barricade, and throwing him into the ring post. Once the fight was brought back inside the ring, Gunther set up a diving headbutt, which Jey Uso countered with a Samoan drop off the top rope. The two began to go back and forth, a super kick from Jey, a German suplex from Gunther, but it all ended with Jey delivering a spear and a splash from the top rope. And after kicking out of the pinfall, Gunther locked in a chokehold that made Jey pass out. A banger of a match, and I don't think it's crazy to declare Gunther King of the Ring winner this early. I assume this Friday Randy Orton will win the SmackDown side of the roster, because I feel like Gunther versus Tama Tonga will be really weird and awkward. I don't know, but I could be wrong. What do you think? Anyways, that was my review of Raw. Subscribe so you don't miss a review of every Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.